Language is the most significant feature of mankind. With its multiplicity of ethnic groups, Nigeria is at a crossroads between preserving her indigenous languages and maintaining national cohesion and unity by the use of the English language as lingua franca. Without any equivocation, it is even more troubling that some Nigerians cannot speak fluently in their native language without slipping in an English word or two. Unfortunately, most of them are polluting their children with the habit. Most parents see it as a matter of class to communicate with their children in English. The United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, in a report indicated that of the 6,000 languages spoken by over 7 billion people globally, about half may become extinct by the end of this century. The report also claimed that the majority of them are African. Nigeria takes third position in the list of countries that have the most spoken languages. Globally, it is believed that only 4 languages, Mandarin Chinese, English, Spanish and Arabic, will remain strong beyond the 21st century. What is the case for Nigerian languages? Are our languages in danger of extinction? More importantly, can you speak your native language? That's the focus today on Dateline 360. Thank you for joining us. I am Lydia Odije Ochi. It is often said that if you talk to a person in a language he understands, it goes to his head. But if you talk to that person in his or her language, it goes to the heart. Everyone feels a personal affinity to those who speak their mother tongue. The major languages in Nigeria are Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, Pidgin English, Fulfulde, Kanuri, Ijaw, Urhobo, Efik, Edo, Tiv, Ibibio, Igala, Ebira, Itsekiri, and Nupe. Now, Gbagi language, a unique breed of language belonging to the larger Niger-Congo phylum, and has 2 principal varieties, that is, Gabri and Gbagi. Though there are other varieties peculiar to some people in 5 states where the Gbagi tribe is founded. Deborah Micah, in this report, examines the historical architecture of Gbagi, which owes a lot to nature.
Gbagi or Agbagi in the plural form are ethnic group of people predominantly found in the north-central zone of Nigeria, in Niger, Nasarawa, Kaduna, and in the FCT, with a population of about 15 million people. As the original inhabitants of the FCT, the modernization that comes with the seat of government has not hindered the language from taking its pride of place. Members of this ethnic group speaks different dialects.
Gbagi language have at least 2 or 3 varieties. We have that Gbagi Genge, we have Gbagi Mate, or Gbagi Yamma.
One outstanding tradition which cannot be contested is the practice among the Gbagi women, that is, the act of carrying load on their shoulders. They say this is due to the respect they have for the head. However, several factors today put the language and the customs in general at risk, though there are concerted efforts being sustained by the ethnic group through seminars to preserve the language and its customs.
No mba nta inyi ntno tai na ba nyimu ma chua gban ngo auche gban auche ba auche ta. Okay, let's talk to my mom about a lot of traditional stuffs. I even used that in school. We had to do this cultural diplomacy course, and we had to learn our languages, including numbers and proverbs and and they love other stuffs and cuisines, food.
If you are to tell me colors in Gbagi language, what do you do?
Okay, that's not so easy, but I know a few. There's black, Gigi. There's white, Bubui. There's green, Egi. There's red, Bebe, Nyabaya.
We've decided to put up events, put up classes, put up a gathering that will promote this language so that the children who are coming up and those yet unborn can be able to learn this language. Because you go to school, they're not speaking Gbagi. You go to the house, the father and the mother is not even speaking Gbagi. The system of marriage these days is not even encouraging the improvement of the Gbagi language, because you see a Gbagi man who is getting married to a Calabar woman, getting married to a white woman, getting married to the Yoruba woman, and the question now is, which language will they learn?
The Gbagi Adorable Marriage Festival remains a sacred obligation till date.
The Anambra State House of Assembly has enacted a law making the speaking of Igbo language compulsory on Wednesdays. The House also went a step further with legislation compelling primary and secondary school pupils in the state to wear native attires that same day. Chinyere Fesi Okoye has details.
Igbo history is ancient, and the origin of this tribe is still a subject of researches and speculations. Cultural traits and oral traditions tell a core land of ancient Igbo people and the migrations in the 9th century. History has it that Owerri, Oro, and Okiwe were the places of core Igbo land. However, research also shows that Igbo language belongs to the Benue-Congo group of the Niger-Congo language family. The language is thought to have originated around the 9th century AD in the area near the confluence of the Niger and Benue rivers, and then spread over a wide area of southeastern Nigeria. The language is said to have over 20 dialects, and standard literary language was said to have been formed in 1972 based on Owerri and Umuahia dialects. Igbo language alphabet that was written in Latin consists of 37 letters. Findings reveal that about 24 million people speak Igbo language across the country, and these people are found mostly in the southeastern part of Nigeria. However, the emphasis on the promotion and sustenance of Igbo language has become a subject of discussion in most fora. Today, I am in one of the public primary schools in Anambra State to find out how fluent the pupils are in communicating in Igbo language. So what do you call this color, green, in Igbo language? So what do you call the color green?
Akwụkwọ.
What do you call the color red in Igbo language?
Red, ọbara. Aha obodo m bụ Ịnọma.
We enforce the pupils to pray in Igbo, singing the national anthem, pledge, and others in Igbo.
With speculations and insinuations that Igbo language is going into extinction, the fight to revive and sustain the language took center stage in Anambra State. The Anambra State House of Assembly is also making frantic efforts to ensure that one of the Nigeria's indigenous languages, Igbo, does not go into extinction.
We made a law on institutionalizing Igbo language as a major language of communication and instruction, both in schools and in service.
On Wednesdays, we hold our plenaries are usually conducted in Igbo. And we wear natives clothes, no English wear.
The Assembly also agreed that the language would be made a compulsory subject for indigenous students moving from junior to senior secondary schools in the state.
Among the West African languages, Hausa language is among the most widely spoken because of its rich historical background in the region and Africa as a whole. In spite of modern influences on languages and cultures, Hausa language is among the West African languages that has endured the test of time and is gaining ground around the world, more importantly in the broadcast industry and academic institution. Awal Haliru has details.
Hausa language is the most important indigenous language in West and Central Africa, spoken as a first or second language by about 50 million people. Hausa dominates most of what is referred to as northern Nigeria, as well as parts of Niger, Cameroon, Benin Republic, and Ghana, and it is Nigeria's largest ethnic group, with a recent estimate putting their population at almost 30 million. It has been the preferred language for trade across northern Nigeria for centuries, which led to its adoption by smaller ethnic groups in the region as a second language. Hausa language has many stories from its ancestors that can explain the origin of the language. Some historians said it is originated from North Africa. The most famous of the story is the Baijida version. The story tells a prince of Baghdad came to northern Nigeria. The Baijida story says the prince came to help people of Daura who couldn't get water because of one snake, and the prince killed it. In view of his bravery, the queen of Daura married him, and they had a son called Bao, who became an ancestor and leader of the 7 Hausa states in Nigeria. Some historians said the story of Baijida took place around the year 650.
The Noah Act, up to the time when people moved to where water collected. For example, like Iraqi and some in Egypt. So the land that came out from Egypt, Hausa people were there. So originally by history, in short, we are from Egypt.
Hausa has over the centuries become a widely used trade language in northern Nigeria and has developed about 10 dialects spoken by the speakers. The popular among them are Katsinanci, which is spoken by natives of Katsina, Dauranci by natives of Daura. Kananci, which is spoken by Kano natives, is the widely understood and spoken Hausa dialect, which is generally accepted as the official Hausa dialect and lingua franca of all Hausa native speakers. Other dialects are Zazaganci, spoken by native of Zaria, which is very similar to Kano Central dialect. The rest are Bausanci by Bauchi natives, Hadijanci by natives of Hadejia town and much of eastern Jigawa state. Gobiranci and Damagaranci are mostly spoken by Hausa speakers in Niger Republic. Indigenous language is unique about people's identity and it conveys their cultural heritage.
If you want to preserve your language, speak it.
Some Nigerian indigenous languages face threat of extinction. This is owing to the embrace of Western culture, especially by the younger generation. Steve Lunai Nwaokolo, in this report, examines the efforts being made by the Edos to stem the tide of erosion of Edo language amongst the younger generation.
In Benin, Edo language in particular, has been so important that the reigning Oba and every other reigning Oba makes it important that the people attach importance to the language. Some people now, even through the primogeniture, the inheritance law of the Benin people, cannot take their father's title if they cannot express Benin.
Edo language is the language of the Benin people. Now can actually tell you that this is the time it started. We grew up to come and meet it. So that's the Benin language. But it has various versions. That is the Esan, the Esako, the Owan, and the other ethnicity. But it all starts from one language, the Edo language.
Mothers, they don't speak it. So because of that, the children find it difficult to learn from their mothers. A situation whereby a man is married to a non-indigen, the language now becomes difficult to speak.
I want to appeal to the parents to please try as much as possible to start talking to their children in their own language, in their own dialect.
It is against this background that the Benin monarch, Oba Ewaye II, is already giving out scholarships to students who can speak Edo language.
I don't know how to speak Edo language.
1 2 eva 3 a 4 ene 5 ise.
Red no ba. Black no qui.
1 2 eva 3 a 4 ene 5 ise.
It is the expectation of the people that this initiative of the Oba of Benin Kingdom to preserve the Edo language is sustained for the younger generations to inculcate.
The United Nations, in recognition of the strategic importance of language in promoting commerce and unity, set aside a day to highlight the essence of mother tongue. However, there are indications that a sizable percentage of Nigerians do not understand their local dialect, such as Yoruba. Is Yoruba language in danger of extinction? Annie Daniels is here with answers.
Culture is an integral part of a people, and language takes center stage. Several of my respondents say they do not understand any of these languages, or, if you permit me, their mother tongues.
Having mingled with, Yoruba friends, Yoruba neighbors here and there, I somehow know how to, just a little of Yoruba.
I was brought up in England, so I don't really know how to speak my language. I was lying to you.
We don't hear Yoruba in my school.
Other respondents attribute the trend to the belief by some parents and school authorities that English language is superior to Nigeria's indigenous languages.
It's a very unpleasant situation because most parents, like I said earlier, they do not even know the importance of language. That's why some parents, when their kids are growing up, they don't teach them their mother tongue. They prefer them to speak English language at home, thinking that would make the child better in school. But it has been proven by research that when you teach a child another language, especially its mother tongue, the child does better in English language than in any other children that are not taught their languages from the onset, from birth.
The child that grows from the childhood, he internalizes whatever happens around him, including language. He has to think in his own language before thinking in English. And if he doesn't think in his own language, how will he be able to imbibe his own culture? How will he be able to do things that are unique, to his own culture or to his own country?
Research shows that Yoruba is classified among the Edekiri languages, which together with Ishakiri and the isolate Igala form the Yoruboid group of languages within the Volta Niger branch of the Niger-Congo family. The language is not only spoken in Nigeria and neighboring countries, but in several other countries of the world.
Like in Cuba, Yoruba language is spoken there. In Cuba, they have what is called Lusimi. It is derived from the word Olukumi, meaning my confidant, intimate friend or associate. Even in Brazil, Yoruba language is called Nago, which originated from the Ango in Republic of Benin. In Trinidad and Tobago, where CBAC has also taken its conference to some years back, they also speak Yoruba language, and in Trinidad is known as Aku.
Not only is the language spoken in those countries, Yoruba, like several Nigerian languages, has dialects. However, for easy understanding of each other, Yoruba speakers adopted one dialect known as Central Yoruba. In spite of these, several Yoruba natives do not understand the language, and when they do, it is just on the surface. For example, numbers and colors are a no-go area for such persons, especially the younger generation. One said, Daddy, I want to mark my birthday this year. How will you say it in Yoruba language?
Mommy, Daddy, we will celebrate the birthday in the year.
We will celebrate.
We will celebrate birthday in the year. We will celebrate birthday.
Do you know colors in your language?
I don't know colors in my language.
Ink. Inky.
Pink.
Pinky.
What about yellow?
Adari.
You're not sure?
Yes, I'm sure. Yellow. Green means away. I don't know that one.
There is, however, hope for Yoruba language, especially as the Lagos State government has taken steps to preserve it.
Efik language, the first African language in print since 1862, is also at the brink of extinction, as it is currently being endangered due to several factors. With this development, Justina Etem examines how the language can be preserved to prevent it from going extinct.
Efik language, otherwise known as Iko-Efik, is a native language of Efik people, mainly spoken in the southern parts of Cross River State. The early missionaries contributed immensely to the development of Efik language, as history records that it was the first language used in translating the New Testament of the Bible in 1862. Subsequently, the language was also used to complete the translation of the Old Testament. It is the main dialect and language of the Efik and Ibibio group of the Benue-Congo branch of Niger-Congo languages, spoken in Akwabuyo, Bakassi, Calabar South, and Odukpani local government areas of Cross River State. Over the years, the language had developed to the extent that it became a vital tool for the dissemination of religion, education, trade, and commerce in Cross River State, Akwa Ibom, and beyond to Cameroon, as well as Equatorial Guinea.
The language would have been there, but there was a migration somewhere where a few people believed that some Jews, decided to migrate into Africa, and they came towards, they went through Arochukwu. When they got to Nigeria, they went through Arochukwu and got to Akwa Ibom. That is where they call Urwan in Akwa Ibom. That's the first real contact with the language. You know, I would not say that it is a subset of the Ibibio language.
Magdalene Asokwo is 7 years old from Bakassi local government area, a typical Efik-speaking community in Cross River State, who can barely count up to 5 nor identify colors in her local dialects. Like Magdalene, some Efik children who attempted to count to 10 were unable to communicate fluently in their language, which is an indication that unless something drastic is done, the language may go extinct.
Iba, ita, ina, itio, itiotied, itaba, usoktied, duob, duobotied, duobeba, duobeta, duobena.
Further investigation revealed that Efik is no longer being taught in most secondary and primary schools in Calabar due to death of teachers of the language. The inability to transfer language from one generation to another could lead to the disappearance of intangible and invaluable heritage of the people.
According to reports by UNESCO, about 527 different local languages spoken across over 250 ethnic groups. Only 84 of them are still in use today in Nigeria. Some of them, especially minority languages, are more in danger of extinction. Already, 9 of them are extinct. All Nigerian languages are national treasures. That's about it on Dateline 360 today. In my own mother tongue, Igede language from Benue State, saying goodbye, it's Okokila Menyi. I am Lydia Odije Ochi. Peace.